Alright, so we finally have a little bit of a shot of John Mayer's pedalboard that he's using with Dead & Company during the Sphere residency this year in 2025. Now, I personally actually not seen any shots or really had anything get dug up in terms of pedalboard shots so far. Usually near the end of the Sphere runs, it seems like is when we kind of get a lot more better shots after a lot more footage and time has gone by. But John Mayer Gear, a friend of mine who I'm sure you guys all follow, he has some shots that he had posted to his page where you can kind of see part of the pedalboard. So I thought, why not go over what we can kind of tell at this point based on these two separate photos here and kind of see if anything is different or if it's looking to be the same as the Sphere 2024 pedalboard. Now, the clear shot of the board that we have is for the back row. You can see the 29 pedals Una, the Source Audio Programmable EQ, the first version, the Exotic Pedals X Blender, the Blacked Out Boss CE2, followed by the JHS Pedals Artificial Blonde, then the Korg SDD-3000, which I'm kind of surprised that's actually stayed on John's pedalboard. Then we have the Strymon Flint, and then on the front row, but just kind of taking up that whole entire far left side of the pedalboard, is the Moog EP3 Expression pedal. That entire back row is identical to what we saw last year at Sphere. But what is really interesting is in this other shot, which is a bit blurry, obviously a bit zoomed in, you get a little bit of an indication of what's going on rows 2 and even row 1. Now, what appears to be the Shin's Music Perfect volume pedal is still on the pedalboard from what we can tell there based on the shot and kind of it's got a specific kind of enclosure, that volume pedal, so it looks like that is identical there. I can kind of spot what looks to be the Boss OC3. You can kind of see it there, and even one of the exotic super cleans on the second row with the glowing red LED. That's what I think that pedal is there. Other than that, we can't really tell a lot. What I'm really curious to see is the drives, which, if anything, I think would change besides delay. It'd probably be the drives, and from this shot here, we can't really tell what is going on. However, it appears to me to be on the first row, kind of closer to the Moog EP3 Expression pedal. There appears to be a white pedal with 2 foot switches on it, and it looks to be a bit taller. So maybe it's on a little riser. Like John's board, he has different pedals on different risers, like the Providence Delay 80s, for example. He'd have just on a little riser to lift it up just a tiny bit more because its enclosure, it's not very tall. So among other pedals, it'd actually be a little bit more deeper into the pedal board, if that makes sense. So these odd little booster pedals for shorter pedals, just to lift them up to a bit more, easier height to actually hit the foot switches when you're on a pedal board like this. And things are, getting pretty tight for space. There's not a lot of room there. It looks like there's something that's white with 2 foot switches a little higher, but based on the angle, to me, it looks like it's on the first row. My first initial thought of this was an H9. It kind of, that's what first came to mind, but I highly doubt that's what it is. I'd be very surprised, but worth noting that appears to be something different, because if we go to the shot that we have of the last version of the Sphere 2024 pedalboard, what John was using, there was nothing that had 2 foot switches like that on it. If that's what I'm seeing, and you guys are getting what I'm showing you, is what's going on there. So it's kind of hard to tell. At first I thought maybe it was just some play with the angle and the lighting and everything of the Klon Centaur and then the Aquapus Mark II, because they're so tight together it could appear like something with 2 foot switches, but it looks like it's a bit lower where that Origin slide rig, or what we assume was a slide rig, was on the front row beside that Moog EP3 Expression pedal. It looks to me like it's about there on the board, so definitely nothing that John was using before would match up to that kind of enclosure style. Now, the only other thing that I can think of that John has used in the past that kind of fits this enclosure shape and style a little bit, like it looks like it's a lighter color, like a white or a silver kind of thing, is the Origin Effects Deluxe 61 Amp Tremolo and Drive. John has used this pedal before in the past. It looks really cool and really interesting, and something silver enclosure, 2 foot switches, kind of fits what we're seeing here. So if I had to bet what that one pedal is on John's board, I'd be leaning towards it being this one just by the nature of him using it a few times in the past. Clearly seems to be enjoying it, and wouldn't be that out of the norm to see it being used by John at Sphere. I mean, the drive section kind of, obviously replicating a brown face Fender amplifier, and then just a different sort of trem thing too if he wants. It's a really cool pedal, something I'd really love to try out at some point. So with the 2-foot switches, boosting it up maybe a little bit in height, and then, I mean, the Origin effects pedals are generally a bit taller too, so who knows what's going on exactly there, but I think just even in the context of its position on the board, where it, at least to me, appears like it is, I think this could be a pretty likely option. So if I was a betting man, I'd say that we are seeing a new addition for the Sphere pedalboard in the Deluxe 61. Otherwise though, everything else, at least for now, appears to be the exact same. Even those 4 volume pedals off to the side where John can control the mix of his in-ears, that whole system still appears, looks like it's the exact same. And at this point with Dead & Company, I feel like John's really come into his own with his sound and really fine-tuned everything quite a lot over the years. I'm sure there will be lots of experimentation to come if, Dead & Company goes overseas and does a residency somewhere like in England, for example. But at this point, I think a lot of John's sounds are kind of maybe somewhat stabilized. He's kind of figured out what kind of sounds he's going for in the gear that's going to help him get there. The SDD-3000, though, it makes me very happy to see that it's still on John's board because it's such a cool piece of kit. I, kid you guys not, got mine in the mail today. I literally got it in a couple of hours ago. I'm a huge fan of the Edge, his guitar tone. Obviously, Dallas Shue, who is the Edge's longtime guitar tech, had a hand in designing this and kind of adding in some features and design choices that the Edge would kind of want and how he uses this pedal. So the fact that the Edge's camp had a lot of say in the design of this made it kind of a pedal I'd really wanted for a long time. And I've done some changing of gear, some things have moved in and out. I got rid of quite a few delay pedals and things like that, so I wanted something new, and regardless of knowing if John was going to use this again or not, I wanted to get one, and now to see that he's still actually got one on his pedalboard, I think is really cool, and it's definitely a bit of an underrated delay pedal, actually, for the amazing sounds it can do, but maybe save that for a conversation for a different day, but I thought I'd just highlight that I just think it's really cool that this is something he's using, and a connection between 2 of my favorite guitarists that, didn't really exist before too much. So until the next video, you guys, I'll keep you in the loop on all things going on with John Mayer's gear at Sphere. The Sphere also naming is kind of odd because I always call it at the Sphere, but I think people also say at Sphere, like you would say at Sphere as well, because the venue is just called Sphere. It's not called the Sphere. So I don't know, it's a little confusing. It trips me up a little bit when I'm trying to call it by its name and try and say it in the best format. But anyways, you guys, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this quick video. Obviously, huge shout out to John Mayer Gear as well for getting these shots sent in and then posting about it. You guys, as always, you can send me stuff to my Instagram page as well. Clips, things you guys want me to cover on the channel. I try my best to respond to all the messages I get when I have time. Footage, photos, things like that. Send them to me through my Instagram. It'll be on your screen as well, so I can talk about this stuff also. But yeah, definitely go follow this page if you're for some reason not already. Thank you guys for watching. Just a quick video today. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.